Back with you tonight on In Focus. Thanks for staying on. The DA is holding on to power in the city of Johannesburg by a thread following co-councillor and acting speaker Colleen Makhubele's notice for the council sitting on Tuesday to elect the new speaker and discuss the motion of no confidence against Mayor Dr. Mpho Phalatse. Makhubele issued the notice for the council sitting last week after former council speaker Vasco da Gama was removed through a motion of no confidence. For more on this, we are now joined by the City of Johannesburg Councillor with our Jama-Ah, Thapelo. Thapelo, good evening. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us. So if the meeting goes ahead tomorrow, are you confident that the motion will pass?
We are confident. You can see the signs are written all over the wall. By virtue of them, the DA or the city, we don't know who's the applicant playing the delay tactic. It means that there's an element of fear and they are not confident of the sitting tomorrow. So you know when two elephants are fighting, the grass tends to suffer. And who's the grass in this context is the residents of Johannesburg, unfortunately. They are the victims of circumstances.
The mayor called you a corrupt coup, led by the chair of chairs, Councillor Makhubele, trying to take the power via back door, through all sorts of illegal means. What's your response to that?
There isn't any illegal means. However, it's common law. It's common practice in the sense that it wavered the rules which were written. So the argument is between who has to call the meeting. But taking into cognizance that the meeting will meet the same objective, whether it's called by the speaker or the acting speaker rather, or the acting city manager. So I wouldn't say it's a corrupt coup or so, because she's also, what she does, it's legally prescribed by the law, which is a common practice. Yeah. When there was a vacancy, their argument will be on MSA 41, but when there's a vacancy, because the Speaker of Council, the former, Vasco da Gama, when he was removed, there was automatically a vacancy. Yes. So she presided over that council by conduct of councillors, not opposing to her presiding over remaining items. It means we considered as councillors and council, and we created a new law which it's a set of precedents. So we are saying she is legally liable to call that particular meeting as an acting speaker. So
do you think she acted within or she is acting still within a constitutional right by calling this extraordinary meeting? Dr. Colleen Makhubele, who is the leader of the multi-party coalition in terms of coordination, says she was within the law correct to have taken over when the then speaker was asked it. Yeah. But it was for that meeting only, according to the Structures Act.
According to the Structures Act. The Structures Act doesn't say you need to act to a certain period of time. So it is silent on what period of time should you act. However, what we are saying is that there's a precedence already from the common law or a case law. So we're no longer basing our argument from the Structures Act or the rules of council per se. We are saying because of that particular precedence, because she acted while there's a vacancy. So we wouldn't say up to this amount of time. We are saying there was a vacancy, yes, of course, she shouldn't have acted. Council should have reconvened out of quorum, and then we elect who's going to be acting or presiding at that moment. But we didn't reconvene and elect. So by virtue, the speaker announced, the former speaker, Vasco da Gama, he announced and then said the acting, chair of chairs, the acting speaker should come and preside. So we considered as councillors and council because we didn't object. Yeah. Because if that was an issue, we should have objected then to say, no, you can't preside, we need to follow the Structures Act or the Municipal System Act.
Because surely there is no position called acting speaker that has been created as far as the multi-party government is concerned. They've got a chair of chairs, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, we have the chair of chairs, correct. Yes, we have the chair of chairs, yeah, correct. We have the chair of chairs. But the rule book of council, chapter 19, our rule book, allows her to act in the absence of the speaker or during the comfort break when he goes out maybe to the bathroom or so. Yes. So by virtue of her ascending to that position, she technically acts. So what we are saying is that we shouldn't worry who calls the meeting, because we're going to reach the common objective. Whether it's the acting city manager or is the chair of chairs, who is now, inverted commas, the acting speaker, if the meeting has to sit tomorrow, whether it's called by any of the two, it's not going to yield different results.
Yeah.
It's going to yield the same results. So what we are saying, we are pleading with the current administration to say, allow us to elect the speaker so that we can hold the executive to account.
I'll come back to that in a moment. Why are you so sure that your motion will be so successful? Because some of the parties, not all of them, some of the parties that help you to oust the speaker have now wrapped their members around the knuckle. I'm talking about Action SA is one of them, and I think IFP and ACDP. It's only ATM that is standing by its decision to oust the speaker. Why do you think you'd still be successful without those other parties who have now rallied around their multi-party government?
The City of Johannesburg, it's a hang municipality. So by virtue of us being a hang municipality, that would mean all of us, we are below the threshold, which is a 50+1. We are all minorities. The only difference is that we have bigger minorities. So in a context of a hang municipality, parties will lobby each other. So whoever who lobbies best, they will emerge victorious, basically, to answer your question.
Yeah.
So we're still confident that we are still going to lobby parties that voted with us, and we are still going to lobby parties which are supposedly within the multi-party government, because it's not a DA thing. It's a constant negotiation between all parties in council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some are saying it's not a negotiation, but it's a secret deal that was made in the back door with the ANC to say, Colleen Makhubele, they'll give you speaker if you give us mayor, and the EFF will get the city of Ekurhuleni. Is there such a deal? And people are talking about this deal that was created in some back room somewhere.
I am in no liberty of what would have been exchanged through those discussions, but I know that if the ANC is leading the negotiations, there is a communication between the ANC and the parties. So I'm in no liberty to speak on behalf of the ANC, but I can speak on behalf of Jama-Ah. We've been approached, yes, we're going to support whoever's name is sent forth tomorrow. Yeah, the name is not yet there. Parties are still negotiating. So what would emanate from those discussions, it will determine who's the speaker tomorrow who has to be elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also suggested that as these conversations are currently going on, there have also been calls to try and convince the Democratic Alliance for Herman Mashaba to return as the executive mayor of the City of Johannesburg. Would Jama-Ah support that?
We wouldn't support Herman Mashaba on the issues of principle.
What principles?
Our principles and values, they do differ with the ones of Herman Mashaba. So I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, we've been approached by Herman Mashaba way before when this multi-party government was created, but because we didn't see eye to eye on certain values, so we had to part ways.
Yeah. And as far as this current executive mayor is concerned, she's hardly been in office for 8 months, hardly has had any opportunity to implement really any plans that are concrete and see them through. Why would you want to oust her at this particular time?
8 months is a lot of time. When we were in government of local unity the previous term, we came during COVID, but we did our utmost best to deliver to the residents of Johannesburg during lockdown and post-COVID. While we were left with more or less 3 months, we delivered. But our approach was based on a simple principle where we were not coerced through a document or what you call a backdoor deal. We agreed on principle with partners at the time to say, this is a plan, and we sit down, we craft the whole plan, and we give it to the implementers, which is the officials in the City of Johannesburg. They implemented on our behalf. We did oversight. We delivered. So it's not an issue of time. If you do not have a plan, just step aside. It's not only us who do not have confidence against the mayor. You know that civil society in the city of Johannesburg, there has been an echoing voice that says Mayor Mpho must step aside. They wanted to push a vote of no confidence. So we are in support because we understand the internal processes and we are rallying behind the residents of Johannesburg.
Yeah. Are you not concerned that it creates instability in the city itself? And it's the city ultimately that loses when these leaders keep on changing, because, I mean, as you put it, there was hardly an opportunity for the previous administration to get those plans in place. It was during COVID. It did try and do some things. I think one of the guys was here yesterday saying that the later Mpho only managed to deliver one substation there in Soweto, when there are a number of others, for example, that have not been operational. So those plans were not yet in place, and unfortunately he was removed, and now, of course, has since passed on. Now there's a new mayor that's coming, going to be removed, and the likelihood, or as you're saying, you're a hung municipality, of even that new mayor coming in to be removed are quite high. I mean, don't you think there needs to be a cool-off period to be able to allow certain things to be put in place?
Ideology has to be aligned. In terms of stability, rest assured that Mpho Phalatse, the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, she's the one who created the instability. I'll tell you why am I saying this. It's what her hands had sent forth. In a sense that the first thing that she did when she came into the city, she started purging critical or strategic officials in the city of Johannesburg. So that alone creates instability. Not changing the face of government, but what matters most is those officials who are implementing, who are supposed to have implemented those programs. I can tell you now, there's a lot of vacancy. We don't even have an accounting officer in the city of Johannesburg.
Give me one or two of those officials you're saying they were purged.
An accounting officer,
yeah,
for argument's sake, which is the former acting city manager.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are you saying the former acting city manager was purged?
He was purged because we deal with internal processes. There were reports. They used their numbers to oust him. There were allegations against him which didn't make sense, and even the investigation against him was never sanctioned by council. The investigation of senior managers are sanctioned by council. Yeah.
Thapelo, are you confident that the sitting will happen tomorrow?
I'm confident that the sitting will happen tomorrow. I'm very confident that the sitting is happening tomorrow, and I'm also confident that if we put the name there, we will emerge victorious. This is why we're not playing delay tactics. Those who are playing delay tactics, you can understand that they are intimidated. They are still trying to buy time so that they can bypass or enhance their strength in terms of lobbying.
Thapelo Ahmed, he is a councillor in the city of Johannesburg, representing Jama-Ah there. Much appreciated, and thank you for your time, and thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Thapelo.
All right, we're still waiting for the outcome. As Thapelo indicated, it is set now to be coming out just after 9, and when it does, we'll bring that to you. But we're also hoping to speak to the chair of chairs, Colleen Makhubele, on that outcome.